Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to installment 2 for Scream Week, where I hop into the first two sequels to see where they kind of took this franchise after the success of the first one. But first, as per usual, if you enjoy these little videos I make about films I enjoy or franchises I want to revisit, please give me a thumbs up and consider both subscribing and hitting that little bell icon to get notifications for when I put up new content, which is usually once or twice a week. And that way you can kind of hop in during that first hour and check out that video because it really helps that almighty algorithm out quite a bit. Okay. Now that all that's out of the way, I've been, as I said in the previous video, revisiting the Scream franchise and catching up on the one and only installment that I hadn't seen previously, which was Part 5. Now, all of this is in preparation, of course, because Scream 6 is coming out this Friday, so I wanted to kind of catch up on all of this and revisit the ones that I hadn't seen in a very long time. For this entry, I'm going to be focusing on the first two sequels that they made before taking a very long break, Scream 2, which was just 1 year later in 1997, and Scream 3, which was a few years after that in 2000. So these films, these first two sequels, are why I kind of stepped away from this franchise and just kind of focused on the fact that I really loved the first one instead. But even so, I gave them another chance. And, like I've said, I like to only make videos about films that I enjoy and want to share, but in the case of franchise revisits or completing a franchise that I hadn't seen everything, I'll make an exception because, I still try to go a little bit easy on them because not every film is for everyone, and I'm sure that these entries have their fans. For both of these, I had seen them in the theater, but I hadn't revisited them since. So let's first start off with Scream 2. From 1997. The surviving characters are in college. Cotton Weary was released since in the previous film and all the stuff that went on with the killers, it kind of proved his innocence about the situation with Sydney's mom. And Sydney's dealing with the aftermath of having sent Cotton to prison for a while, and now he's out. Life isn't really going well, things are a bit rough, and there's still a lot of buzz about all the events that had happened in Woodsboro. But honestly, they went into a very natural direction of what these characters would be up to, so, it pretty much makes sense. In this new installment, we also get Timothy Oliphant, who you may recognize from Santa Clarita Diet and The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. Jerry O'Connell and Laurie Metcalf, both of whom have been on Big Bang Theory as Sheldon's brother and mother, as well as many other works. We also get Sarah Michelle Gellar. She was in this little show about some girl named Buffy and something with vampires. I don't know. I wasn't really a fan. I'm kidding. And there were several others that had just little cameos here and there. It seemed like a lot of people kind of wanted to be a part of this movie, having been fans of the first one, I imagine. But anyways, the synopsis for this one is: 2 years after the first series of murders, as Sydney acclimates to college life, someone donning the Ghostface costume begins a new string of killings. Okay, so the killings are happening again. We have a copycat since we know that the killers from the first film are dead. So, something new to figure out. And of course, since this is a sequel, Randy is, still using his kind of film-obsessed mind to try to make these comparisons for what's happening with this copycat and how to treat that like a movie sequel. This is where they really begin to lean much harder into breaking that fourth wall, taking that self-referential feel to the next level. While there are some aspects of this one I liked, I still have some problems with it. Most notably, the pacing is really just way off. It has nowhere near the heart of the original, and the side characters should not have been given lines. There's none of their dialogue sticks, and I'm not sure if it was the writing or the acting, but it was very cringy. But the strangest thing of all that stuck out to me on this rewatch was Broken Arrow. For some reason, when Dewey particularly shows up, we get this theme song from the film Broken Arrow, which was still the new film at the time. For some reason, they used part of that soundtrack in this film. I even had to look it up to make sure, and it was a song literally titled Broken Arrow from the film Broken Arrow. Really strange, but there are some other aspects of this one that I enjoyed, such as how they built off the Cotton Weary character and expanded that part of the story. How they took these characters to the next chapter in their lives, and they gave a pretty decent motive for the killings, having this connection to Billy Loomis and such from the first film. But overall, it kind of fell flat for me. I overall didn't really enjoy it that much, but it was not the worst in the series. That would be Scream 3 from 2000. So 3 years later, they had another idea where to take this, and they took quite a leap. Though that's respectable that they were trying something new, it kind of further removed me from this story and these characters. Anyways, the synopsis for Scream 3 is: while Sydney and her friends visit the Hollywood set of Stab 3, the third film based on the Woodsboro murders, another ghost-faced killer rises to terrorize them. So like the second one, they built up this meta aspect, and it pulled me even further from caring. Because now they're in Hollywood, and there's this focus as this new Stab film, based on the events of the Woodsboro murders. So we get what feels kind of like a parody of a parody, and Parker Posey for some reason is in it. I mean, she's a good actress, but not in this. I'm gonna kind of blame the material, or maybe she wasn't taking it seriously. I will lump her performance from this probably in the same realm as Blade Trinity, that masterpiece. Anyways, this film was very distracting because whether it was a cameo from Carrie Fisher, who for some reason not only is in it, but is actually referencing Star Wars and Carrie Fisher and George Lucas, or the fact that Jay and Silent Bob even have a little cameo where they don't just walk by, they are literally given dialogue, which distracts even further. Upon rewatch, this reminded me of the third Sharknado movie in a way, in that where people seem to want to have cameos in it, like it was this exciting thing, as a goof, they want to be in it, but it's supposed to be horror, so it just kept pulling me out of it. Because like that second one, I just didn't really connect with anything that was happening in this one, and when I rewatched it, I had pretty much zero memory of the film except one scene with Parker Posey and the Jay and Silent Bob cameo. So even when writing up this review and kind of putting everything together, I'd kind of even forgotten what even happened at the end. I know it had to do with a relative to Sydney, stuff about her mother having previously tried her hand in Hollywood, and how this relative kind of pushed Stu and Billy into those killings, I believe, or something. It just felt a bit convoluted, and because the pace was off and it kept breaking that fourth wall in a way and kept pulling me out of that story, just none of that was really sticking. It's no wonder that they took an 11-year break between parts 3 and 4. But how was part 4? Well, you'll have to subscribe and hit that little bell icon to get notification when I put up that next entry, which is going to be in a couple of days, where I'll be covering parts 4 and 5 to see where they tried to take it after that, after taking a very long break. Both a long break between 3 and 4 and another long break between 4 and 5. To see if they were even worth it, or, worth kind of checking out. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out this latest little short entry here for revisiting the Scream films during Scream Week here. Thank you for sticking around to the end, as it really does help out quite a bit. Be sure to be on the lookout for my next 2 videos, one for Scream 4 and 5, and finally on Friday there'll be one for Scream 6, the latest installment. I'm actually kind of excited about checking that one out to see what they do with it. Anyways, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one.